The elevator doors closed with a soft chime, sealing the laughter inside. "This is a boardroom, not a daycare," Victor Langford said, voice sharp enough to slice through the room. "Someone remove him. Now, we're finalizing a figure deal. I don't have time for this. This meetings is confidential. Why is the cleaning staff son even here?" The question floated through the glass-walled executive floor like a stray paper airplane, careless, arrogant, meant to land nowhere. A few men in tailored suits chuckled. One didn't even bother lowering his voice. Probably couldn't find a babysitter for the cleaning staff. But what happens next shocked the room because buried in the presentation he was so confident about was a mistake so expensive it could erase everything he'd built, and the person he just humiliated was the only one in the room who'd already seen it. 14-year-old Eli Turner stood perfectly still beside his mother, his hands folded behind his back the way she'd taught him. Be small, be quiet, don't give them a reason. His backpack rested neatly at his feet, scuffed at the corners, heavy with textbooks, and something else no one in this room could see: leverage. His mother, Renee, kept her eyes on the carpet as she pushed her cleaning cart forward. She'd been on this floor for 7 years. Night shifts, weekend shifts, holiday shifts. She knew which executives tipped and which pretended she didn't exist. She also knew this was not a place for questions. "Stay by the wall," she whispered without looking at him. "I'll be quick." Eli nodded. Across the room, Victor Langford, Chief Operations Officer of Langford Systems, adjusted his cufflinks and glanced toward the boy with visible irritation. "Security," he said, snapping his fingers. "Why do we have visitors?" The head of security leaned in. "Sir, the cleaning supervisor approved it. School's out today." Victor exhaled sharply, the way men do when they believe patience is a favor. "Fine. Just make sure he doesn't touch anything. We're discussing sensitive material." Sensitive. That word landed differently in Eli's mind, because here's what none of them knew. Eli had already touched everything that mattered. The board meeting began the way they always did: confident voices, polished slides, aggressive timelines. A $300 million acquisition, an overseas data processing firm, complex compliance language, even more complex loopholes. Victor paced slowly as he spoke, radiating certainty. "This deal positions us for exponential growth. Regulatory exposure is minimal. We've stress-tested the language." Several board members nodded. One clapped softly. From the corner of the room, Eli listened. Not casually, not curiously. Precisely. His eyes were on the screen, but his mind was somewhere else. Mapping structures, translating intent, aligning inconsistencies. While his mother wiped fingerprints off a glass table, Eli quietly dismantled the presentation in his head. Because this wasn't the first time. 3 years earlier, when Renee couldn't understand a letter threatening eviction due to a clerical discrepancy, Eli had read the fine print and found the error. When a neighbor's small business was fined into closure, Eli found the misapplied statute. When his school counselor told him to aim lower, Eli didn't argue. He calculated. What Victor Langford didn't know, what no one here could see, was that Eli had been auditing contracts for funds since age 11. Not because he wanted to, because someone had to. Victor clicked to the final slide. "Unless there are objections, we'll vote and move to signature by end of day." A woman at the far end of the table hesitated. "The indemnity clause—" "It's standard," Victor cut in smoothly. "Our legal team vetted it." Laughter, relief, momentum. Eli's fingers curled slightly, because in the third subclause, buried beneath neutral language, was a silent transfer of liability that would activate after 90 days, not immediately. A delayed detonation. One that would shift legal exposure onto Langford Systems the moment regulators noticed the data irregularities overseas. Victor wasn't just wrong. He was exposed. Eli looked at his mother. Renee met his eyes for half a second, their private language built over years. "Is it bad?" her look asked. Eli gave the smallest nod. "Very." "Madam Chair," a voice said. Every head turned. Eli stepped forward. The room froze, not dramatically but awkwardly, the way systems freeze when something unplanned enters the workflow. "I'm sorry," the chairwoman said slowly. "Who are you?" Eli swallowed once. "My name is Eli Turner. I'm here with my mom." Victor laughed out loud. "This is highly inappropriate." "I know," Eli said calmly. "But so is approving a contract that will bankrupt this company in under 4 months. Silence. Not outrage, not disbelief. Silence. The most dangerous kind. "That's enough," Victor snapped. "Security." "Section 14C, Eli continued, his voice steady. "The liability reversion clause conflicts with international data compliance law under the host country's revised framework. You delayed the trigger to avoid immediate scrutiny. But once audits begin, the penalties won't hit the subsidiary." He looked directly at Victor. "They'll hit you." Someone dropped a pen. The chairwoman raised a hand. "Young man, how do you know this?" Eli didn't smile. He didn't posture. "My mom cleans offices," he said. "I read what people leave behind." That landed. Victor's face flushed. "This is absurd. He's a child." "Yes," Eli agreed. "That's why I had time to read all 312 pages." The legal counsel cleared his throat. "Sir, can you walk us through the exposure timeline?" Eli did. Clause by clause, risk by risk, outcome by outcome, not emotionally, operationally. By the time he finished, the room didn't feel like a boardroom anymore. It felt like an audit. An emergency recess was called. Phones lit up. Lawyers whispered. Eyes avoided Victor's. 30 minutes later, the vote resumed, this time without him at the table. The deal was terminated. An internal investigation launched. Victor Langford placed on administrative leave pending review. As executives filed out, the chairwoman stopped in front of Eli. "You just saved this company," she said quietly. Eli shook his head. "No, ma'am. I just read it." She nodded slowly, as if seeing something she'd missed for years. 2 weeks later, Langford Systems announced a new internal compliance initiative. A month later, Renee Turner was promoted to Facilities Operations Manager. And in a quiet office, just off the executive floor, there was a desk with a smaller chair, a second monitor, and a nameplate that read, "E. Turner, Jr. Contract Risk Analyst." Eli still went to school, still carried his backpack, still waited for his mom after work. But now, when meetings ran late, no one asked why he was there. They asked what he thought. If this moment made you uncomfortable, good. Because discomfort is where the truth usually lives. Ask yourself this. How many times have we dismissed someone before they ever got the chance to speak? How many voices have we ignored because they didn't look like authority? Drop a comment and tell me, who do you think really belongs in the room, and who decides that? And if stories like this make you pause, rethink, or see the world a little differently, subscribe to Hidden Tales Stories. Because the next story, it might sound fictional until it isn't. I'll see you in the comments.